What's good, Denver? It's Shelly Martinez, your host of Chopping It Up with Shelly at Hollywood Barbershop.
This is the barbershop. Barbershop. This is the barbershop. The place where a black man means so.
What's good, Denver? It's Chopping It with Shelly over here at Hollywood's Barbershop. I have Dwayne Meeks here with us today, a special guest. He's also a client of ours, and he hasn't sat in my barber chair yet, which is unfortunate for him, but good to have you here.
Thank you.
So, tell me, first of all, when I first met you, you told me you were with Urban Colors. Is that right?
Yes.
Tell me about that and what your role is.
So I founded Urban Colors Arts and Mentoring's Fathers and Families program in 2007, and it was a need in the community for men to step up, for young males to have someone to be able to talk to keep them off the street, protect them from the violence and the police activity going on in the streets. So we started it out of our house, and we used to invite the gang members, young kids off the street, and we would have a talk, and talk about how to stay out of trouble, safe places to go. And so that was in 2005. So in 2007, we decided to go for a nonprofit organization, and it was a grant for the National Fatherhood Initiative through the Department of Human Services that was a 5-year grant for responsible fatherhood services. So we applied for that grant. It was a $50,000 grant for the first year. We applied for that, we got that, and then we went to set up shop at the Glen Arm Recreation Center. So our thing was we didn't have a office building to do the fatherhood program, so we decided to go someplace where men kind of frequented often, and we can set up shop there and offer some resources and invite them to come in and participate in our class. So because they always went there to work out, play basketball, lift weights anyway, we had some pizza there, and we would invite men in, and that's really how we got started. And then 4 years into that, we were awarded our Fatherhood Program of the Year, and how we presented it on a grassroots level. So eventually that funding went away. But what we did was really try to sustain ourselves by marketing and promoting ourselves to the school district, to churches, to other government agencies about the services that we offered and how successful we were. At the time, Governor Ritter was the governor, okay, and Hickenlooper was the mayor, and we got letters from both of them to say how successful and how important it was that our program be recognized for the services we offer to fathers and families. So we really kind of took off from there. We started attending local human services meetings, and wherever organizations were kind of having community meetings to talk about our programs and our services, and it took off from there. I decided in 2011 that I wanted to kind of step out of the box and go national, so I started applying for speaking engagement opportunities at conferences around the country. And through those proposals, I got asked to speak at a bunch of conferences. Now a lot of them weren't paid, but I was going to share this information about how we started our fatherhood engagement program, what we did, what best practices we had, the pros and the cons, and how we engage families and staff. So now, here we are in 2022, and I've authored a book in 2017.
This book right here?
Along with my co-author, Judge Arthur Burnett Sr., who's the first African American magistrate judge in this country and also a retired Superior Court judge in the District of Columbia, and a professor at Howard University. He read my manuscript and decided to do the forward and help me to edit the manuscript to make sure that the book was able to reach all classes, from lower classes, middle class, upper class, to people with PhDs and social work degrees. So the book is written on that level, and it is a manuscript and a kind of a blueprint for fatherhood engagement strategies, tools, and lived experience of how I myself got started in fatherhood engagement with my 3 sons going into the school system and advocating for them as a parent, and the challenges that I went through, the red tape and the bureaucracy of seeing a black man in the school district,
Showing up as a parent.
showing up as a parent, and as a positive and a healthy male, you know, and supporting my children. And the principal saw that when they were in elementary school, and he asked me to implement the program at their school. And at the time, the school was in the red, which means that the school wasn't doing really well, and they were trying to get to a blue school. So he was brought in to turn the school around in 5 years. So when in the second year, he did a report on how well the school was doing, because the school had went from a red school to a blue school in 2 years.
Wow.
Instead of 5. And he had the 3 top reasons. Where his second reason was because of the father engagement services and efforts that were being put into the school, how it really rallied around parent engagement and got more parents involved, moms and dads. And he said those were some of the main reasons why that school really turned around, because children were able to see men, healthy men, in the school participating, not as teachers, but in other mentors,
coaches,
available, you know,
right.
Outside the schools in the morning when kids were getting dropped off, on the playgrounds during recess, and after school when the school was being let out, and throughout the school day they would be in the classrooms, reading to small groups, helping small groups of children with math, maybe running errands back and forth from the classroom to the front office to get copies made, and really supporting the teachers. So it was really a collaboration that, you know, gave the parents and gave the teachers a different perspective of the value that fathers, you know, brought to the table.
Where did this inspiration come from? Was it a personal experience from a childhood or a father relationship with yourself and your father, or where did that inspiration to create this organization come from?
The inspiration came from myself. My mom, retired Air Force vet, as well as my father. They both met in the Air Force, but my father didn't raise myself and my 2 older brothers. I'm the youngest of 3 brothers, and so mom raised us. You know, she went to school, she went to work, she was on welfare. You know, what they called back at that time, public assistance was called welfare, and she was able to juggle those things. And I always wondered why, you know, mom was the one that was coming to school. She was the one that was throwing the football around with me. She was the one that was attending my sporting events, and my father wasn't there. You know, you would think that a father who had 3 sons would attend their sporting events, but after talking to my brothers, we realized that he never attended any of our sporting events. You know, so when I was 22 years old, and I really began to really engage my father and hang out with him and try to understand who he was, I was introduced to drugs, you know, hard drugs. I had smoked a little weed before then, but at this point, it was some hard stuff that was going on, and it was crack cocaine, and I got introduced to that, and 3 years later, I ended up finding myself in a drug rehab, And I remember him. My mother told me that he had came to one of the parent meetings at the drug rehab, and he broke down in tears, after listening to the presentation, the orientation, and he felt like, he was the reason why, I had picked up and started using. But I never blamed him for that. I blamed him for exposing me to it. But I still made the choice. So over the years, I've had to heal from that. So fast forward from 22 years old to I was 32. When I came out the drug program at 25 years old, after 18 months, I was 6 years into my sobriety, and I remember sitting in my father's kitchen, and we were having a conversation, and he stood before me, and he told me that he loved me, and he kissed me on my forehead. And I was trying to figure out what was going on here. I'm 32 years old. We're both grown. I'm a grown man. He's kissing me, telling me he loved me. And 3 months after that happened, he passed away. I didn't know that he was dealing with cardiovascular disease, and because he kind of kept that quiet. So for me, really, it was the first and the last kiss that I got, because he never kissed me before, and I don't ever remember him telling me that he loved me. So it was something that I've always longed for from him. It was like a validation, and so it was like at that moment when he did that, all the hurt and the pain that I had kind of like fell off my shoulders like a monkey off my back, and I vowed to myself and to God that I would never do to my children what my dad did to me. So, when my wife and I had my 3 sons, I had 2 previous daughters from previous relationships, and they were grown already. But my next 3 sons, who were a set of twins, and another boy, when they were born, I showered them with hugs and kisses from the moment they came out the womb. And my thing was, give them that, pour that into them, so that they don't ever have to wonder if that you love them or not. So when they got older, they kind of they didn't like it so much when they were young teenagers, but as they became young adults, I noticed them starting to do it to me. So every time they would come to the house, they would greet me by kissing me on my forehead and give me a hug or a kiss on my cheek, and so I felt like I broke a cycle there, for one, for being there and raising them to adulthood, and then the other thing, showing them the emotion that fathers bring, because we were always taught. I was taught, men shouldn't cry, be strong, stop crying, you're a punk if you cry, be strong, and really suppress your emotions. And that could be, that can work, in a negative way, which it did for me. I suppressed a lot of stuff, and it came out in other ways. It came out in the drug abuse. It came out in anger, frustration, and fighting and that kind of thing. Living in Brooklyn and living in Bedford-Stuyvesant in the hood, it was do or die. You had to survive, so you had to block out any emotion that you had, because your survival was at stake, on a daily basis. So they got it. So that's really when the book, the idea for the book came up, and I said, that story needs to be told. It needs to be put in the book to talk about father's value at home and in the school system. And I went on the road and spoke at conferences about it. And that story has been my go-to story. When anyone says, why you got into this, that's the story I told. And that really gets fathers going, it gets them resonating with themselves, what they've had to deal with. I've gone into prisons and talked to 300 men about this. They were literally in there crying in tears. And then I turned around and went into the women's prison and talked to a couple of hundred women. They were in tears. So I'm saying, you know what? let fathers be engaged. Let them be involved with their children's lives, even if you two of you don't get along. It's part of co-parenting. What's in the best interest of that child is having two parents who both bring different things to the table to nurture and develop, to provide balance and love, and that's the difference. That's one of the problems with today with the violence that's in our streets, is that a lot of our young men are dealing with fatherless issues
And mother issues.
and mother issues. If you have a father's not there, then you have a mom who's got some toxic behavior, or vice versa. It's not a good combination. Somebody has to balance that stuff out and help you be logical, help you be, to deal with your emotions in a healthy and constructive way, and to have respect for yourself, and and to want to do the right thing. That's where we go from there. We really try to heal the family legacy and lineage and pathologies that are there. But young people right now don't want to hear some of that stuff, but they're so angry with how we as adults have left this society. We've left them with not a whole lot of wealth to build on, not a lot of foundation. They're like, you guys have jacked this up for us, and they're angry, and they're acting out. I've kind of expanded on my organization now. I'm pretty known for fatherhood programming. There's so many other things that I do as well, and I find myself being someone who empowers and inspires marginalized families to step into their power and set realistic family goals for themselves, and to deal with their beliefs and their belief systems, and not let their circumstances determine who they are. Because poverty is a disease. Poverty is a mindset. And if you get somebody to constantly think negative about their situation, they're going to constantly attract that to themselves. That's easier said than done, but it is really a power of attraction. If you see yourself as, and you keep telling yourself that I'm never going to get anywhere, then you're not ever going to get anywhere. You got to set realistic goals. You really got to stay in a positive place, surround yourself with positive people, and and have a plan, and take action. No one's coming to save any of us. So if we don't take action, you just gonna just feel bad for yourself, but no one else is gonna feel sorry for you, because everybody else is doing what they got to do as well. The book will actually show, fathers and educators and people who provide services to families that include fathers in the conversation. When you talk about family prosperity and what you're doing for the family, it's all about the child and the mother. Where's dad at? Why is dad not in the picture? Maybe he's incarcerated, maybe he's on drugs, maybe something happened there. But there's a reason why dad's not in the picture. And whether they tell you or not, maybe it'll get the family thinking about that. Now if he's an unhealthy male, I understand he's maybe not in the picture for a particular reason, but all this is part of the system's setup to keep men of color out of the family foundation. If you remove the man out of the family, you can control the rest of the family, because now mom, if she wants help and services from public assistance, food stamps, she needs to not let him be in the picture. She can get housing, she can get food, but if you put him on that application, you're not getting nothing.
Absolutely.
So that's the control factor. What's more important? You got to make a decision: feeding my children to have a roof over their head, or letting the father back into the picture. And then the woman has to make a choice. It shouldn't be where she needs to have to decide on whether or not the children are having the father involved. It's hard to get men together to sit
Right.
in a group like women do, like you guys do. Y'all sit together in
Yeah.
a circle, for hours and talk and be emotional and let your guard down.
Yep.
Men are not going to do that. We
Nope.
got to approach them a little differently.
Well, you know what's crazy is, the barbershop serves that purpose for a lot of men. I've been behind the chair for 30 plus years, and in just 7 years here at Hollywood's, and man after man that sits in my chair opens up automatically to me, and they just tell me everything, what they're going through, breakups, relationships. Sometimes I have to make them stare at themselves in the mirror and look how amazing you are. Look how much you have to offer. You're all these things, right? So
I need to sit in your chair.
That's why they come
I need to sit in her chair. I always sit in the ex's chair.
I know.
But
Forget him. But from one man to another man, or one black man to another man out there, how important is therapy?
Therapy is very important.
I'm so happy that you're doing this, because I think it's much needed. And it's been missing. You have a missing
Piece.
missing piece.
And
it
that
is
let me
true.
just say that's a series. Is a series of books. So this is the
Okay.
first one. So you'll see other books saying pieces never missing, and it may be a different thing, But we all have pieces that are missing in our lives that complete the puzzle, and we need to find out what it is. This one happens to be fatherhood engagement, because it's dear to me. But we all have a lot of pieces that are missing.
Yeah, and
We're
that's
trying to put the puzzle together.
that's what we got to do. And when we complete the puzzle, then we'll be happy and whole within ourselves. But
Yes.
until then, we're searching for pieces outside of ourselves that don't fit.
There you go. Yeah.
But you guys, check this book out. This is, he said, one of many series to come. And where can they find your books at?
Currently is on Amazon.
Amazon?
So if you put in Pieces Never Missing Required in a Child's Life, or Dwayne Meeks, or Arthur Burnett Sr., you'll pull that up online.
And if you're here in the local area, where can they get involved if they need mentoring, if they just want to be a part of the program?
You can look up urbancolors.org. That's the organization's web address. Or you can reach out to me at DwayneMeeks.com. But I'm also on different social media platforms, except for Facebook. So I'm not on Facebook, but you can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm always putting out different content. Inspiring quotes, those kind of things, and things that are dear to me around fathers and family prosperity. So, check me out.
That's great. I'm so glad you came into the shop, and I got a chance to meet you. And you're an inspiration, and I hope that God blesses you to continue to do what you do. And I hope people reach out to you, because this is such an important issue that
Thank
we're
you.
all dealing with.
Thank you for
Even as a
giving me the
woman.
platform. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for giving me the platform
Of
to
course.
share this important message. So
Good.
keep up the great work.
Thank you. And Denver, once again, another one of Denver's best here, Dwayne Meeks. So check him out. And I'll put all of his information there for you to follow. And we'll catch up with you next time.